Hi again. In Edmond Gruss, Apostles of Denial, we're in the chapter Some Recent Publications. This is written from the perspective of the early 1960s when Gruss had left the Watchtower and was getting his Christian education. He's talking about the various points where the recent history book published in 1959, Jehovah's Witnesses and Divine Purpose, where that book had strayed from the truth or suppressed the truth. He's at point number 9 now, which is Russell's separation from his wife is reported in typical witness manner. Supposedly the separation came about because Mrs. Russell wanted too strong a voice in the publication of the Watchtower. The reason given in the text does not at all agree with the statement of the judge or the court record. The evidence given for divorce cited that his conceit, egotism, and domination were such as to make life intolerable for his wife. Further, his conduct towards other women was termed improper. With these facts on record, J.J. Ross printed a tract, Some Facts About the Self-Styled Pastor Charles T. Russell, which appeared in June 1912. In this tract, he writes, quote, in 1879, he married Miss Marie F. Ackley, who divorced him a few years ago on the ground of cruelty and of having wrong relations with other women, end of quote. This charge and many others caused Russell to bring suit against Ross for defamatory libel. These statements against Russell were found true, and Russell lost the case, with the jury handing down the verdict, no bill. Point number 10. The following statement from all outward appearances would seem true from the figures given by the Watchtower. That is this statement: the society has always been primarily a Bible society, unquote. This refers to its dissemination of Bible truths in Bibles. That comparatively little in the way of Bible distribution has been done by the witnesses is easy to establish. In June of 1960, less than 3 million copies of the entire Bible, or almost 6 million Bibles and portions of it, had been printed by the Watchtower. This number of Bibles published in relation to the other materials such as books, booklets, and magazines published makes the odds at least 200 to 1 for a Bible to be distributed instead of the Watchtower literature. Of those 6 million Bibles and portions published, over 1.4 million have been the New World Translation of the Christian Greek Scriptures, and over 2.1 million volumes of the New World Translation of the Hebrew Scriptures. These are propaganda devices, not the pure Word of God. The King James Version and the American Standard Version, printed by the Watchtower Society, have witnesses' concordances and other Jehovah's Witness material in the rear, which also dilute the truth. A more correct claim would be that the Society has always been primarily a propaganda machine. The book Jehovah's Witnesses and the Divine Purpose is also to be criticized, not only for what it says, but also on grounds of what it does not say. So he goes to point number 11 here. Why is there no mention of the court case with J.J. Ross? This is the case which Russell lost when he was unable to show that Ross's charges in the tract Some Facts About the Self-Styled Pastor Charles T. Russell were false. Russell was charged with very grave actions. The trial record was in the files of the High Court of Ontario. Russell versus Ross, defamatory libel, March 17, 1913. This writer was informed by a reputable authority that the court record of this trial had mysteriously disappeared. Point 12. Why is there no mention of the evidence brought into court in Russell's divorce case? The witness's account makes it clear that Russell was not guilty or accused of adultery, which is true, according to Mrs. Russell's testimony. What Russell was charged with, however, is just as morally degrading for one who claimed to be a special servant of God. This writer hesitates to introduce the following record into the text, but it is necessary in the face of the Watchtower's incomplete account. The following is an example of the testimony given by Mrs. Russell under oath, under direct examination by her attorney, Mr. Porter. Question: state to the court and the jury what talk, if any, you had with this girl Rose in regard to her relations with your husband, which you communicated to your husband. Answer: Rose has told me that you have been very intimate with her, and that you have been in the habit of hugging and kissing her and having her sit on your knee and fondling each other. She tells me you bid her on no account tell me, but she couldn't keep it any longer. Gruss says of that, concerning this and other facts found in Ross's booklet, he writes, "What I now tell the reader is first-hand knowledge, and I will be prepared to defend it in the court of law." Point 13. Why is there no mention of the miracle wheat scandal in which Russell sued the Brooklyn Daily Eagle for $100,000 but lost? And then in the footnote there's this. The Watchtower advertised wheat seed for sale at $1 a pound, which was called miracle wheat, and it was asserted that it would yield 5 times as much as conventional wheat. The Brooklyn Daily Eagle published a cartoon exposing this venture, which caused Russell to sue for $100,000 damages. The wheat was investigated by government departments, and it was tested by governmental tests in which it was rated low. Therefore, the Eagle won the suit. Point 14. Why is there no mention that the extensive journey of December 1911 to March 1912, which supposedly was a missionary journey to show the failure of Christian missions, was actually an advertising stunt and a fraud? Large sums of money were spent to advertise the meeting in the New York Hippodrome, where the results of the trip were given. An evaluation of the enterprise is given by the Missionary Review of the World. Quote, "We do not believe in advertising what we have reason to consider a fraud, but at times attention should be called to frauds already widely advertised. Advertising is an art, and the financial success of many a fake business enterprise is due to expensive and skillful use of printer's ink. Pastor Russell is a great advertiser and has deceived many good people into thinking him a great teacher." Mr. W.T. Ellis, editor afield of The Continent, after interviewing Russell personally and reading Russell's report, concluded, quote, "I declare that his alleged investigation of missions was no investigation at all. Russell simply made a short, quick, sightseeing journey around the world." End of quote. The missionary tour covered 116 days, nearly all of which was on ships or trains. Put in a link to a book that influenced me, and I think I read it the first time when I was still a witness. Jehovah Propaganda. And one of the points that astounded me when I read it was that one of the disadvantages of literacy, that is general literacy in society, is that it makes one susceptible to propaganda. So the Watchtower, of course, allows its people to have minimal literacy. It encourages them to go to public school and high school, get minimal literacy, but never become particularly skilled in any field, any academic field, because that is dangerous, and indeed it is. If you get beyond minimal literacy, you will know the thing that you're part of. So Jehovah Propaganda, I'll put that on your screen. See you soon.